Let's jump right into this. Tier 69 Conclave, the mods aren't too bad. We just got to look out a little for poison pools on monster death. If you want to see a full build guide, I have one in the description below. And if you want to see my gears, powers, glyphs, stats, quick look at it, all that's going to be at the end of this video. I'm Stoivan. Welcome to my channel. I enjoy pushing hard content in Diablo 4, and recently, as of this past week, I have started a little YouTube hobby here to share my thoughts and help fellow sorcerers. This build is going to be my take on the Lash Sorcerer. I've dropped lucky hits completely, and I just focus on the Lash skill and getting its damage as high as possible. This is achieved by stacking 4 different key debuffs on the enemy packs I want to destroy. Stun from teleporting in with the unique raiment chest, which also has the benefit of the pull-in. Freeze and Vulnerable are being applied from Frost Nova, and Immobilize from the Flame Shield affix and running through enemies unhindered. That's going to apply a 3-second Mobilize and be the 4th key debuff that we're trying to stack up on enemies. When mobs have all 4 of these debuffs, you're able to do massive damage for the 1 to 2 second window where you can attack where they're afflicted by all of them. This Flame Shield legendary affix is actually fairly new to me. I had to drop a 20% damage reduction affix after a basic attack on my helm and replaced it with the Flame Shield affix. So not only did I lose 20% damage reduction, I also am using my immunity on offense, so it's requiring some getting used to on the damage mitigation side of things. Now this pack here, we're running into quite a lot of problems. We didn't get a good pull-in and stun with our teleport, we didn't get a good freeze, and we didn't get a good immobilize to follow it up. So now we're kind of in a place where we're struggling to finish off the last couple mobs. We're going to wait for our cooldowns to come back up. We're going to wait for the unstoppable crowd control immunities to end on these elites. And then when we have everything ready to go, it's apply all 3 CCs, pull them in, and blow them up. Hopefully the next couple packs will be a better example of what this build can do when everything's available. It looks like here we're waiting for Frost Nova to come up. Everything's available. Jump in, pull, immobilize, and the elite's gone. When you don't overlap everything and coordinate it properly, packs can get more and more difficult, and this is more and more true as you will move up in tiers. The build so far for me has been very fun and satisfying to play, especially when there's a big clump of mobs all CC'd and pulled in, and you Arclash a few times, and then their corpses just go flying in all directions. Like, seeing that is really a sight to behold. It scales extremely well with attack speed stacking, so you don't really have to worry about being in an animation and needing to dodge something. Your Arclash is extremely fast, sometimes nearly 4 times a second it's attacking enemies. You get attack speed on your offhand and helm in the form of basic skill attack speed. There's a legendary power that I like to put on the amulet for 45% basic skill attack speed, and then the only other places to get generic attack speed will be on the gloves. You can get up to 15%, and on the skill tree you can get roughly another 15%. Some things to pay attention to as your conduit pylon. That's gonna make things easy for a little bit. I actually am not super familiar with this dungeon, and I did not expect that elite mini boss to just die instantly to a conduit pylon. I thought it would be more of an event, so we kind of skipped that. We'll have to look for that again on another run because conduit just cheesed it. But here we are at another pack, and our ultimate's back up. And the Unstable Currents ultimate really is just, it's a you win button. You push it, and for 10 seconds, you're going to feel like a god. You're going to feel like nothing can stop you. It really does just make the build feel and play so great. You're always at max stacks of the 100 armor, because your attack speed is even more enhanced when that ability's up. In addition, you're just constantly throwing all the free spells back up again. If you're ever concerned whether you should save or hold or maybe wait for a better time to hit that button, just hit it. It has such a short cooldown and you're constantly reducing it. Just hit the button, it'll be back up when you need it. Here's a Resplendent Guardian. He's generally a little tankier than a normal elite, and we kind of just messed up our CC rotation on him. So we're going to wait and let his unstoppable status reset. Now he'll be able to be CC'd by all of our CC at once, and our ultimates back up, and we make quick work of him. As we begin to finish off this pack, we're cycling through our crowd controls, and all of a sudden, enemy hordes incoming. And while it's nice that it pulls in monsters from all around the map, so we don't have to chase them all down, it means that sometimes we're getting ambushed without everything being as coordinated as we'd like. For the first half of that or so, our ultimate was still going, and we were able to kind of just power through it. Usually 1 or 2 CCs is enough. And luckily our cooldowns are short enough that everything comes up so fast where we're able to finish it off without too much of a problem. One quick thing I want to talk about too is the unstoppable meter. As you constantly apply hard CCs to enemies, they're gaining an invisible unstoppable meter. And if that reaches the breaking point where it becomes full, they're going to be immune to all crowd control, all forms of CC for about 5 seconds. You can avoid this by controlling when you're spending your crowd controls. Remember that Arc Lash's basic attack has a crowd control element to it. And if you crowd control mobs too much, too quickly, back off for a bit until you're ready to give them a proper go. Well, here's an artillery pylon, and I know I've mentioned attack speed a couple times, and this pylon takes full advantage of it, as well as low cooldowns. The teleport, the frost nova, the ice barrier, and flame shield, they're all just releasing these barrages of spikes, and artillery pylon is gonna cheese most of the rest of this dungeon here. It's just quickly melting and finishing off any mobs, and honestly, it feels a little bit dirty to just get and showcase here with this build, but now you've seen it. I try not to show pylons too often. At least we'll have a fair fight here versus the final dungeon boss. We line up most of our CCs on him. I think we missed the unstoppable slightly, and now we're just finishing him off. So that's the build and the dungeon, and if you've gotten this far, please consider subscribing or liking or commenting. I love to hear your thoughts. It seems to help the channel, and I enjoy talking to you all. Here's a quick rundown of the stats. I know I went through it very quickly. If you want to pause on any of the stats or gear as I quickly go over it, definitely feel free to do that. Hopefully I didn't go too quick and you can actually manage to take a close look. Going to jump through the skill tree real fast here. Of course, we take Flame Bolt there up the top basic skill for the enchantment. All the defensive skills, Arc Lash obviously, and then Unstable Currents with the attack speed modifier. We're using the Cheat Death enchantment. I believe it procced once during the run. For glyphs, we're going to use Control in the starter tree, and then Flame Feeder on the Burning Instinct board. Then we're going to use Tactician here on the Frigid Fate board. And then we're going to have Imbiber on the Elemental Summoner board. And lastly, we're going to have Exploit in the Enhancement Master board. If you're looking for a more thorough and complete build guide, I am posting a link to that in the description below. Thanks for watching.